Hello again, it's Mr. Wishahi, and today we're going to talk about mean absolute deviation. Mean absolute deviation is a way to assess and measure data. And let's just talk about what each different term means. So mean, well, that's referring to the average of numbers. Absolute, that's referring to distance. Distance from zero. And deviation, a simple way of describing deviation is just a change. Okay, so let me give you an example and then we'll get into it. First, let's start with a set of numbers. Let's start with 10, 13, 12, 15, and then 10. So I've got a set of numbers. I want to find the mean absolute deviation. Okay, what I really want to do is just how much do these numbers vary. So the first thing I want to do is calculate the mean. So when you calculate the average, you're going to add up your numbers. So go ahead and add those up on your calculator. 10, 13, 12, 15, and 10. Okay, I got 60. So 10 plus 13 plus 12 plus 15 plus 10, that gets me 60. So again, we want to calculate the mean. So when you're calculating average, you're going to take the sum and then divide by the quantities you had. We had 5 numbers to add together. 60 divided by 5, that comes out to 12. That's the mean of this set of numbers. But that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the mean absolute deviation. We're not there yet. So the second step I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mean and subtract it from each one of my values. What I mean by that is I'm going to take 10, 13, 12, 15, and 10. I'm going to take all my numbers and I'm going to subtract 12 from each one. So 10 minus 2, that's going to get me negative 2. 13 minus 12, that's 1. 12 minus 12, that's 0. 15 minus 12, 3. And then 10 minus 12, negative 2. I've got some negatives in there. This is very important for you to remember. When you're calculating mean absolute deviation, you cannot use negative numbers. You have to use their absolute value. So the absolute value of 2 is 2, because negative 2 is 2 away from 0. So I'm going to change that to a positive. And I've got another negative here. So again, do not use negatives. Now that I've got my deviations, these are how far away each number was from the average. Now I'm going to get the average of these numbers. So again, I'm going to calculate the average for these numbers. So I'm going to take 2 plus 1 plus 0 plus 3 plus 2. Go ahead and add those up in your calculator or in your head. I got 8. So the sum of these numbers is 8, and then to get the average, or the mean, I'm going to divide it again. I had 5 values. So let's go ahead and put that in our calculator. 8 divided by 5. I got 1.6. What this shows me is the variability, or the mean absolute deviation of these numbers is 1.6. That means each of these values on average was 1.6 away from the mean of 12. Okay, this is giving me variability. Let's do another set of numbers, okay, as an example. So go ahead for example 2. Let's do 13, 6, let's do 15, and 20. Okay, so we first want to get the mean of these numbers. Go ahead and add them up. So 13 plus 6 plus 15 plus 20. That came out to 54. So now we want to divide by the number of values we added. We added 4, so I'm going to divide by 4. It came out to 13.5. That's the mean of these numbers. That's the average of this set of numbers. Next, I'm going to subtract the mean from each value. And I'm already telling I'm going to get some negatives. So subtract each one. So 13 minus 13.5, that's going to be negative 0.5. 6 minus 13.5, that's going to get me negative 7.5. 15 minus 13.5, that's going to give me 1.5. And then 20 minus 13.5, that's going to get me 6.5. Okay? But again, we can't use negatives, so all these negatives, turn them to positives, because we're looking for absolute value. Let's go and add up our deviations. So these are your deviations. Alright, add them up. So 7.5 plus 0.5, that's going to be 8. 8.5 plus 1.5, or I'm sorry, 8 plus 1.5, that's going to be 9.5. And then 9.5 plus 6.5, that's going to get me 16. So the total of these is 16. We're going to divide by the values we added, 4, and that comes out to 4. So this is going to be our mean absolute deviation, or you want to call it MAD. Okay, so let's compare. This first set of numbers, the mean absolute deviation was 1.6. This one had a higher mean absolute deviation, therefore this one has a higher variability. The higher the MAD, the higher the variability. If you look at it, these numbers were more far apart than these were up here. Okay, that's what mean absolute deviation tells us. It tells us how far apart on average are the numbers in a set of data. Okay, so the lower the number, the less variability, the more consistent the numbers are. So just go through the steps one more time. 1, you're going to calculate your mean. Of numbers in the set. Second, you subtract your mean from each number. But, put a little asterisk there, no negatives. You turn your negatives into positives. And third, you are going to find the mean of the deviations. So you're calculating average twice. Once in the first step and once in the last step. Okay, hopefully this helps you out a little bit. This is a way to measure data, check its variability. So remember, the higher variability, the less consistent the numbers are, or the higher the MAD's going to be. Okay, good luck.